Welcome to BFX, your stop for cheap practical effects. I'm Devon Riley, and I'll teach you how to get your ace out of a hole. Ace out of a hole? Weird. If you're anything like me, you're not very good with sleight of hand, and you're probably pretty broke. That's why I developed this simple but effective wrist-mounted device for any would-be mavericks out there who just need to cheat. Because isn't cheating just the bee's knees? And to get ourselves a budget, we turn to the peel of wasperity. Russ, that sounds like a typo. $10? Shopping list. 2 foot-long pipe hangers, at least 3 inches of square-inch thick scrap wood, curtain hanger with 1 small clamping end, an old leather belt, inch-long machine screws and nuts, small sturdy rubber band, wire hanger, some aluminum pop rivets, 3/16 of an inch, some elastic, small pen spring, and some playing cards. Start by marking 1.5 inches into the tip of each pipe holder, then make 3/4 inch and 2.5 inch strips of the rest. Once you're all marked up, use a rotary hand tool to cut your pipe holders into strips. Take your 6 2.5 inch and 2 1.5 inch strips, clamp them together, and drill out all the small holes to 3/16 of an inch. Even out any unseemly ends and grind your tips to a uniform size. To assure things move smoothly, remove any burrs or rough patches on the surface of your strips. Now we can move on to pop riveting. Make sure no excess metal remains to hinder pivoting, load in a pop rivet, and... rivet together the ends of 3 long strips and 1 short strip, alternating top to bottom, and do the inverse with your remaining strips. Now, pop rivets aren't designed for movement, so these guys are going to be really stiff. Work on loosening joints one by one until they swing freely with no resistance. Moving on to our curtain hanger, remove its clip, then take 1/2, cut off the back, and drill a 3/16 inch hole into its front. Load a pop rivet upside down through the rounded ends and into the hole under your clip. Rivet, loosen, and then fold it into itself. Load another pop rivet beside your clip, rivet, and loosen. Begin cutting or grinding down the bottoms of your pop rivets to a little less than the thickness of your nuts, and do the same for the rivet inside your clip. Next, cut a notch into one of your machine screws just below where the nut would rest in the top. Cut that screw to 9/16 of an inch, secure it into the hole beside your newest pop rivet, and secure a full-size screw beside that. Mark about 3 inches into the top of your wood and drill a hole straight through the center, which your inch-long screw can be threaded through. Drill a similar hole through the side as close to the top and front as possible. Remove any excess wood from at least 1/4 inch behind your top hole and mark a lengthwise line across the top of your wood. Cut along your line through the wood, stopping 1/4 inch before your hole. Using a coarse grit, sand down the inside of your cut and any rough edges until your 2 prongs are wide enough to let a screw and rubber band pass through easily. Loop one side of your rubber band around the side screw between your 2 prongs and the other side around your notch screw. Secure your metal to the top of your wood and give it a test. Now, to fasten a trigger, clip a wire hanger and bend the end into something like this. Drill a hole halfway up the side of your wood between where your screws rest. Insert the bent end into this hole. Find a comfortable length for the other end of your trigger where your fingers can get to it, loop it around, and trim the excess. Hot glue your spring to the outside of your belt, glue the belt to the bottom of your wood over the spring, trim, and drill new notches. Finally, glue your elastic strip into a loop that fits around your arm to keep the belt from slipping. I added a bit of fun foam to the end for increased comfort and stability and to act as a guide for the trigger. And now you're done! Hooray!
Sevens. Pair of aces. Jeez, another pair of aces. Say, what kind of a game you trying to run here, fella? Queensberry rules? Queensberry rules? Well, why didn't you say so? I love Queensberry rules. Got any tools? Go fish.
Thanks for sticking around through a very audition-y episode of Backyard Effects. I'm Devon Riley, and this banana tastes like magic marker. It's pretty good though.